Once upon a time, in the heart of Umakis, a peaceful village surrounded by rolling green hills and endless farmlands, there lived a couple, Adaku and Chijioke. They had been married for 20 years but had no child. In their village, a home without children was seen as incomplete. The villagers whispered behind their backs, women at the market mocked Adaku, and even the elders shook their heads in pity whenever they passed their compound. Adaku, though heartbroken, always put on a brave face, but at night, she wept into her pillow. Chijioke, a kind and patient man, held her close and whispered, "Nwani Oma, the God's time is different from ours. Do not weep." One fateful evening, after years of prayers and sacrifices, a miracle happened. Adaku realized she had not seen her moon cycle in months, and when she visited the village healer, the old woman smiled and said, "The gods have remembered you." When the news spread, the villagers were shocked. Some rejoiced, while others, like Mama Ikin, the village gossip, scoffed, "After 20 years. I hope the child will even be strong." Despite the doubts, Chijioke and Adaku held on to hope, praying that their child would be healthy and blessed. When Adaku finally gave birth, a baby girl was born. She was named Olachi, meaning a God's work. But when the villagers saw her, their whispers turned into laughter. Olachi was thin and small, unlike the plump babies that the village women loved to admire. Mama Ikin clicked her tongue and said, after waiting for 20 years, this is what she gave birth to. Even the wind can carry her away. Others murmured that a child so small was a bad omen. As Olachi grew, her mother did everything to fatten her up. She was given heavy meals of pounded yam, bowls of fufu, rice and stew, and even extra pieces of meat. But no matter how much she ate, she remained slim. She envied girls like Adoma and Nena, who were plump and admired. They teased her at the river, saying, "Are you even eating? You look like a broomstick." Olachi often sat alone, wondering why she was different. At night, Olachi would stare at her reflection in a pot of water, tracing her slender arms and sharp cheekbones. "Why did the gods make me this way?" she would whisper. She wrapped layers of cloth around her waist, trying to look bigger, but it was no use. Her cousin, Yugo, laughed and said, "Even if you wrap yourself with 10 wrappers, you will still look like a stick." Her mother, seeing her sadness, held her hands gently and said, "My daughter, the gods do not make mistakes. There is a reason for everything." But Olachi could not understand. How could being different be a blessing when it only brought her pain? One day, Olachi's wealthy aunt, Auntie Ifeoma, visited from Lagos. She was a tall, elegant woman who always wore gold earrings that jingled when she walked. When she saw Olachi, she gasped. "My dear, do you know how special you are?" Olachi frowned. "Special? In what way?" Auntie Ifeoma laughed and said, "Come with me to Lagos. You will see for yourself." Olachi's parents hesitated at first, but when they saw the opportunity, they gave their blessings. And so, with a small bag of clothes and a heart full of questions, Olachi boarded a bus to the great city. Lagos was nothing like the village. The streets were filled with tall buildings, moving cars, and bright lights. The people walked fast, dressed in stylish clothes, and spoke with confidence. For the first time, Olachi felt invisible. No one laughed at her, no one whispered behind her back. Instead, something unexpected happened. People stopped her on the streets, admiring her height and slim figure. Fashion designers, modeling agencies, and photographers all wanted to work with her. "Your body is perfect for the runway," they said. "You are beautiful just as you are." Olachi could not believe it. The body she once hated was now being celebrated. Olachi was introduced to Madam Bimp, a famous modeling coach who trained some of the biggest models in Nigeria. "You were born for this," she told Olachi. "Trust yourself." In just a few months, Olachi walked her first runway show, and before long, her face was on billboards. The same girl who was once called Broomstick was now being called a star. But in the middle of all the glitz and glamour, Olachi never forgot the years of pain and doubt. Instead of forgetting her past, Olachi decided to use her voice to help other girls who felt different. She started a foundation for young girls, teaching them that beauty is not in trying to be like others but in embracing who they truly are. God created you the way you are for a reason. Love yourself, she told them. Young girls, who had once been mocked for being too dark, too tall, or too short, found hope in her words. Years later, Olachi returned home, not as the thin village girl mocked for her body, but as a woman admired by many. The same villagers who once whispered behind her back now gathered to celebrate her. "Olachi, we have heard of your success," they cheered. The same girls who had teased her at the river now wished to be like her. Her mother, Adaku, hugged her tightly. "I told you, my daughter, the Creator makes no mistakes," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Olachi, filled with gratitude, finally understood. Her father, Chijioke, stood proudly beside her. "You have made us proud, my daughter." Olachi, who had once felt unwanted, now knew she was exactly who she was meant to be. One night, as Olachi looked up at the stars, she whispered, "To every girl who has ever felt different, to every boy who has ever been laughed at, know this: God made no mistake when He made you. Love yourself, for you are created for a purpose." And somewhere in a small village, a mother told her daughter, "Let me tell you the story of Olachi, the girl who found her purpose."